Profil Janis Rosalita Supriyanto menjadi perbincangan di dunia olahraga nasional setelah gadis belia ini meraih 3 medali emas cabang fin swimming di SEA Games Kamboja 2023. Janis Rosalita Supriyanto adalah perenang asal Surabaya, Jawa Timur. Ia lahir pada tanggal 14 Januari tahun 1996, dan saat ini berusia 27 tahun, ia memeluk agama Kristen. Janis diketahui merupakan lulusan Fakultas Ilmu Budaya Universitas Airlangga. Janis Benediktus diketahui menikah dengan Sakti Haposan. Janis Rosalita Supriyanto layak dinobatkan sebagai atlet Indonesia tersukses di SEA Games 2023 di Kamboja. Wanita cantik lulusan Universitas Airlangga itu memperoleh 6 medali, yang meliputi 3 medali emas dan 3 perak di cabang fin swimming. Janis Rosalita Supriyanto meraih medali emas pada nomor 50 meter gaya dada putri, 100 meter gaya dada putri, dan 200 meter gaya dada putri. Medali perak diraih nomor estafet 4x50 meter putri, estafet 4x100 meter putri, dan estafet 4x200 meter putri. Dengan raihan 6 medali tersebut, Janis Rosalita Supriyanto berhak menjadi atlet Indonesia tersukses di SEA Games 2023. Janis Rosalita Supriyanto bukan satu-satunya atlet Indonesia yang berhasil membawa pulang lebih dari 1 medali dari Kamboja. Namun, 3 medali emas dan 3 perak yang diraih perempuan kelahiran tanggal 14 Januari tahun 1996 itu menjadi yang paling mencolok di antara kontingen Indonesia di SEA Games 2023. Kementerian Pemuda dan Olahraga Kemenpora pun menjuluki atlet yang akrab disapa Janis tersebut dengan sebutan The Golden Mermaid, atas prestasi gemilang tersebut. Pencapaian Janis dengan 6 medali tersebut jauh melebihi hasil yang diperoleh pada saat tampil di SEA Games Vietnam yang digelar tahun kemarin. Kala itu, atlet kelahiran tanggal 14 Januari tahun 1996 tersebut pulang dengan 4 medali yang terdiri dari 2 emas dan 2 perak. Berikut ini adalah cuplikan detik-detik Janis memenangkan medali emas dalam ajang fin swimming.
Right, the 800 meters relay surface, which is swum for the first time at the SEA Games since 03. All swimmers going off in fine fettle, and they make full use of that 15 meters, as we've seen already. The Vietnamese usually not the fastest in terms of the starts, but usually when it comes to the surface after the changeovers and after the turns, they usually kick on from there. They are in second spot, just behind the Philippines, but look how good they have been once again off the wall. My goodness, they're just a different act altogether, and a different class altogether. They're third in the 4x200 surface relays in Asia. And surely in Southeast Asia, they're going to steamroll past their opponents in this one. And with more opportunities to make those turns off the walls, they're just going to build their lead and their momentum even more and more. Indonesia caught up already to second spot, and those 2 countries who've got culture in fin swimming have dominated the first day of races and will be in the reckoning and dominating the medals for this one, that's for sure. So once again, off the turn. Look at that ankle kicks to get into that slipstream. Got up very quickly, whereas the Indonesian stayed longer underwater, and because of that, probably has got some rhythm going into the final leg of the first leg. This is a very good swim by the Indonesians, you'd have to say. Avira it is in the first leg, who has caught up with the Vietnamese, and now the all-important changeover and what they can do with it. Indonesia was a messy off the wall by the Vietnamese that leg, so it was very unfortunate, but it is messy. It looked as if it was an early start for Thailand in that changeover. We'll have a look at it, but Indonesia are in the lead after leg number 1 in the 800 meters freestyle relay, and still holding that lead. And the Vietnamese trying to attack this wall. They've got Pham Thi Tu, recently a champion in the 100 meters surface, in the pool. That's a very good turn, and once again making full use of that 15 meters allowed, submerged just to emerge in the lead and almost a body length ahead of the Vietnamese, who is saving some energy and some fuel for the final 100. It looks that way, but Indonesia half a body length ahead, and that is a very good turn. Once again off the wall. Let's see if she makes full use of the 15 meters. Almost, but they worked that streamline very well. And still slightly ahead of the Vietnamese, who might be in for a shock here, but they have their strongest swimmers in the final two legs, whereas the Indonesians have got their strongest swimmers in legs 2 and 3. Another turn off the ball, and this time a little nervous in terms of that turn, sensing the Vietnamese close by, sensing the crowd actually just rising in terms of their decibels of the cheers in the immediate aquatic center, but still holding that lead and going very strong and looking very, very good. The coaches are shouting, but above the din and underwater, I'm sure you can hardly hear them. The exchange was very, very good. Took off very well both sides, and the Indonesians yet again using the 15-meter marker to its full extent. Slightly in front of the Vietnamese, still holding that body length lead, whereas the Thais are occupying third spot, but it'll be between the two nations, the two best nations in fin swimming in Southeast Asia, who'll battle for gold here in the 800 meters freestyle relay. Got up very quickly, the Indonesian, but still the Vietnamese didn't make full use of that 15 meters as well. So it's the wake of the Indonesian that is causing some bit of troubles for the Vietnamese swimmers at the moment, because that frontal resistance is a little bit too much. And they attacked the wall well enough. Let's see if they make full use of this 15 meters. Not quite, but a wonderful breakout, you'd have to say. And the streamlining was superb as well. So they'll go into that final leg in the lead if they manage to hold on to this. The hip flexion and the work, absolutely brilliant from Rusia of Indonesia in leg number 3. And she will give them a substantial lead into the 4th and final leg, of which Vietnam's Nguyen Thi Hang, their best in 200 meters in the surface, will take to the pool. But she'll face a huge deficit. And we did say Indonesia's best swimmer is in leg number 3, and she hasn't disappointed. She has stretched this lead by quite a big margin. Nguyen Thi Hang has a lot to pull back on if they are trying to get right back into this. 24.55, 4:47.94, and that is a huge advantage. It is a lead by almost 6 seconds against the Vietnamese. She has 200 meters though to go, Nguyen Thi Hang, and she is pretty strong in getting into an early Moen rhythm. She needs to get the synchronicity going, and she's trimmed the lead a bit already after a fantastic plunge. Off the walls, she is very good as well, but the Indonesian seems to have found an early rhythm, and that's all she needs. Making sure that it's smooth, slicing through the water, heading into the final 100 meters, and this will be a huge surprise, because this will be Vietnam's first ever loss in the relays in the surface levels. Indonesia going on strong. Their officials are going berserk right here. They're going crazy. 120, 50, 75 meters left now for the Indonesians, heading into the final stages of this relay. Surely no one's going to catch them. The Vietnamese can't catch them, despite the effort that's being put in by Nguyen Thi Hang. They cross, and I think the Vietnamese will settle for silver. But a big, big victory for the Indonesians in the 800 meters relay surface for the women. And hopefully the men are watching it and might upstage the Vietnamese too in their very own relay, which happens after this. Magnificent victory for the Indonesians, and how they celebrated it in the stands. And it all came about because of a wondrous third leg swim that made all the difference. Almost 9 seconds the difference between the two countries, and the final medal positions and timing. Tears coming out for the Indonesians. The Vietnamese don't have a 100% streak in women's fin swimming on day number 1. The Indonesians break it in the relay. But it was the third leg where Rusia took to the pool. She was their strongest swimmer, their national champion, and the moment she took off and extended that lead at the 100-meter mark of her swim, you know that the race was theirs to lose.